Hey, it's Coach Josh here, Training for Warriors Portland, and I want to talk about one of my favorite experiences today, and that's the flow experience. And if you've been working out for any amount of time and you found that it's boring, or that it sucks, or that it's too hard and it never gets easier, never gets to a place where it's fun, then you might have a focus issue and a mindset shift could help you start to enjoy the process and get into that flow state. I want to share with you a little bit about that, what that means. If you haven't read the book Flow, it's an old book from the 70s, I think by a professor in psychology named Mihaly something I can't pronounce, and it starts with a C. It's a really long name. But Mihaly writes in his book, the flow state is achieved, there's a few sets of circumstances that you can achieve flow in different activities. And number one is having a clear objective. So having an obvious goal that you are or are not achieving constantly. So he uses the example of mountaineering in the book. And in the book, if you're mountaineering and you're not doing it right, you're falling off the mountain. So it's very clear what your objective is, and it's very clear when you're not meeting it. So if you're a beginner in fitness and you just learn how to squat, your objective could be to squat pain-free. You know, it could be to learn how to sprint without hurting yourself. You know, it could be something simple like that, where you immediately know if you're doing it wrong because you got that feedback of pain, or you don't. Immediate feedback. Number two. So, in the example I used, the objective was to squat pain-free, and that's immediate because it's internal. You can use external cues as well to create immediate feedback. But you use things like a belt to tell you when you're breathing properly, or a box to tell you when you're going deep enough or high enough, or whatever. So you can create an external situation or cue to give you that immediate feedback on what you're doing is right. So if you're trying to learn something, you can use the structure in your environment to help you get that immediate feedback. And then finally, progressive challenge to match your increasing skill. So if you look over here to the left, you see this channel or this diagram. On the bottom, in the x-axis, you got the difficulty of the task, and then on the y-axis, you got the skill, your relative skill in that particular task. And you see that if the difficulty is high, or your skill is low, you're overwhelmed, totally choked. If the skill is high and the difficulty is low, that's too boring. So what you need to do is have a progressive challenge, reset your objectives and your immediate feedback to match wherever you're at. So if you're just learning to do something pain-free, maybe you need everything, your difficulty scaled back. Or if you've been mastering your body for a while and you're training hard, maybe you need a little bit more pressure. And what I mean by that is, reframing your goals. So maybe if you're squatting, maybe it's squatting deeper. Maybe it's controlling your tempo. Maybe it's breathing properly. Perhaps it's additional weight. Maybe it's a new style of lift. So if you're going from a front squat to a back squat, or progressing somehow your technique and your form to match your new level of skill. And you would think that it's binary, right? Like it's right or wrong. But in fact, when it comes to training, it's a lot like a martial art. You can continually progress those skills and that technique almost to infinity, because there's so much that the human body can produce with one training movement. So progressing that challenge to meet your new skill is a way to stay in this flow channel where you're being successful, but you're rising to your new challenge, and you're growing, and you're feeling your brain work and change. And it's a difficult state to achieve, especially on your own. But people who achieve it a lot, they have an environment set up to where it happens relatively easily. In the case of the mountaineer or the ultra marathoner or the athlete, their environment's set up to cue that. So help yourself get out of the doldrums of training into a flow state by using some flow models here. And this is pretty much the way that we coach and train for warriors. Your coach will help determine where you're at, and they'll set immediate feedback and create clear objectives, which we do every single training session, to make sure that people feel successful, progress themselves and their bodies and their skills, and become awesome at what they do, have fun training, and help bring out the warrior within.